I got cancer. I didn't die, so I wrote a book. I figured that was a good thing to do. Many of you here could write a book because we're card-carrying members of a club we never wanted to be a part of, the Cancer Club. We were drafted into this club. Before that, life was going along just fine, wasn't it? I know for me, I was pretty busy. I did not have time to be drafted. I was working full-time. I was selling software into hospitals. I had a part-time business doing healing work over on Pleasant Street in Newburyport. I was on the board of trustees at my church. I have a big, huge Italian family. I was really busy. And I was also training for the Pan Mass Challenge. I was riding about 150 miles a week to do the Pan Mass Challenge, to raise money for little kids who have cancer. So you see, I was busy. But cancer didn't really care about that. Cancer didn't care how busy I was. All of a sudden, life comes to this screeching halt. And life as we knew it will never, ever, ever be the same. You agree? Yeah. So that membership card that we all have, that membership card now gets us into all kinds of places. Gets us into all fancy doctor's offices. Gets us a ride in an MRI machine. Last time I checked, I think I was at about 20 times taking a ride in the MRI machine. It gets you into all kinds of treatment. It gets you into to chemo. It gets you into radiation. Maybe it even got you into a clinical trial. I don't know. But it gets you into whatever it takes. And it got us into whatever it took. And for that, I have to say, I am absolutely grateful. As I know I speak for all of you here who are part of that membership club. We are grateful. But folks, I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm not here to talk about all this. I'm not even really here to talk about the details of my journey. And I'm really not here to congratulate you or myself as being a survivor. Survivor is a nice word, but it means to merely live through something. I don't want to merely live through something. I'm here to talk to you about thriving. We've all survived many things in our lives, haven't we? We've all survived our childhood. I survived being raised by Italians. Now that's something to survive. We survived childhood illnesses, maybe a heartbreak here and there. We survived our teenage years. Maybe we've survived raising teenagers. That's huge. We've also survived losing people that we love. So today I'm here to talk about thriving. You know, I love the title of tonight's talk. I love the title of the event you all put together, Laura. Surviving and Thriving, a journey together. To thrive means we get to activate another card, a different membership card that we're all part of. A club that we are part of called Life. Now that's a card I want to carry. That card stands for an acronym that I created, Live in Full Expression. In fact, I have a whole program I put together. It's an 8-week course called Live in Full Expression. When we're living in full expression, we're thriving, and when we're thriving, we're absolutely living fully expressed. Now, what does it mean to thrive? Why am I so on this thriving thing? Well, what it means to thrive is to flourish, to bloom, to blossom, to prosper. Now, isn't that better than just merely staying alive? I think it is. So if you break down the word thrive, T stands for tenacity, tenacious. No matter what the pain, we stayed the course. H stands for health, to be healthy. It was a wake-up call. Cancer is a wake-up call that our bodies are asking us, our bodies, our mind, our spirit, our physical being, our mental and emotional. They asked us, wake up, pay attention, be responsible, which means the ability to respond. Please take better care of me. Maybe it's eating better. Maybe it's getting out and doing some exercise. I don't know what it means for you. And I know for me, when I was dealing with this, I knew that more of me, with the billions of cells we have in our body, I knew more cells in my billion-cell body were way more healthy than the ones that were compromised. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. The R is for resilient, which means to go back to the regular form. And through my faith, that's what I did. You see, I believe that we have to be faithful, more than hopeful. I believe we have to be fierce in our faith for what we want, as opposed to being fierce in the fight against that which we don't want. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes too, because when we're fierce in the fight for what we don't want, we just keep pushing against and pushing against and pushing against. And the I stands for important. You know, sometimes it's not so easy to realize how important we are. Your families now know how important you are. You know how important you are, and they are. But we're brought up to think it's egotistical or it's conceited if we're boastful about how important we are. We are important. Every single person on the planet has a unique and personal talent. Why do you think no one has your fingerprints? No one else has your fingerprints. No one else has your fingerprints. 7 billion people on the planet. Do you think we're unique and important? Yes, I do. V stands for victory. Victorious. You know, people think Nike. They think Nike is just an athletic brand. No, Nike is the goddess of victory. That's what we want to be. We want to be gods and goddesses of victory. We want to feel that victory and that victorious energy within us. Because why? Because the E stands for exceptional. We're exceptional people, Eileen. We're exceptional. You know the good work you do. With exceptional people. You know, we're all of this and more. And the way I chose to thrive and the way I choose to thrive every day. Now I'm going to ask you to open your minds and hearts. Just kind of ride with me here. I did not battle. My journey began 10 years ago, and I knew right from the start, Denise, this is not a battle. Do not battle. What little energy I had, I wasn't using it to fight with cancer. I was not buying into, and I know this flies in the face of the shared reality these days, that the metaphor that is this whole battle thing attached to this cancer thing. What gets me crazy when I hear the media talking about so-and-so lost their battle. No, come on. They're not losers. They died. And they happen to have cancer. So I want to talk to you today about that battle. And even though everything we're told and we listen to and all of that, it doesn't have to be a battle. In fact, we're better off. I work a lot with cancer patients. We're much better off. It might work for some. But you know, I'm doing a documentary. I really haven't told a lot of people about it, but I'm raising funds right now. We're doing a documentary. My good friend here is helping me. These 2 wonderful young people are helping me. And so in doing my research, I was researching who else is talking about stuff like I'm talking about, because I can't find anybody doing it. So I was doing some research one night, and I found a woman named Dr. Elena Semino. She's a linguistics professor at the University of Lancaster in the United Kingdom. And she has all this information about how important it is, the languaging around cancer, and the languaging, this military language that started when Nixon declared war on cancer in the early 70s. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that. That's a whole other day. But what she says in her information is she has done studies with hundreds of people, not in the United States. They're doing this in the UK. And I did a FaceTime meeting with her because she's really interested in who I am and what I've done and how I survived. And she's done a lot of studies, and she studied how maybe for some, but they put this whole metaphor menu together. For you, it's different. For me, it's different. I decided I was going to embrace it. I was going to dance with it. I almost named my book Dancing with Cancer. I fell in love with this whole process. You know, we're led to believe that what we don't want, we should push it away. And it's not going to be in our consciousness or our reality anymore. And you know what? That's not how the laws of the universe work. We cannot push away what we don't want, because when you realize what you resist persists, pushing things away is not going to work. You know, I had a client. I do a lot of healing work with everybody, but I do a lot of specialty work with cancer patients. So this one woman came to me, and her name's Lisa, and she had a recurrence of head and neck cancer. And she's been cancer-free for 8 years or so, and then she had a very severe, I don't want to get into the details, but it was extensive. And she had to go into the radiation mask, and she was freaked. She was so fearful. She just was pushing that mask away, pushing that mask away, pushing it all away. So we did a session, and we were talking. And as we were talking, and she was panicked, and she's saying, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I'm too afraid. Blah, 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 blah. I thought, you know what? Sometimes the thought, you ever think about going to a scary movie and you're like all jeeped up and it's more scary than when you really get to the movie? Or you think about things that are really fearful and you finally get there and it wasn't that fearful. Anybody with me? You with me? So while she was talking, I just reached over to the shelf in my office and I took out my book. And I said, here's what's going to happen. There's me. There's me in the radiation machine. There's me in the mask. Was it fun? No. Anybody here in that mask at all? Okay. I hope nobody ever has to do it again. It wasn't fun, but it was doable. And in talking to her, and we were just standing there, I took the book, and I don't know why I did it, but I went like this. Mwah. And I kissed the picture of me in the radiation machine in the mask. And what ended up happening for her is something shifted. And she left, and we didn't really say much more because what I did, I couldn't have covered that in 10,000 words. What I did, which I feel like I was divinely led to do, made such an impact on her. It was doable for her. And she found a way to get herself through it. And she told me a few weeks later, that one moment shifted everything for me, Denise. So when she realized she could do it and she started to embrace instead of trying to push things away. You know, where there's a battle, there's a war, and there's enough, would you agree there's enough war on this planet? I don't want a war inside of me with something that's already got a lot of heat. Cancer's hot, it's got energy, it's angry, it's whatever it is. No. Think about all the wars that we've declared on drugs. We have more drugs. We declared war on more terror. We got more terror. We declare war on poverty. We have a higher rate of poverty. And they declared war on cancer. And 1 out of 3 people have cancer, and 1 out of 4 of those are going to die. It's getting better. I listen to a lot of this stuff, and it isn't, maybe we'll never find a cure, but maybe, just maybe, we're going to have to be able, like AIDS years ago, people died from AIDS. They don't die from AIDS anymore. So let the American Cancer Society fight the battle. Let them go to the government and get us better coverage. Let them go fight with insurance companies so insurance companies will start thinking outside the box. Let them go fight the battle with them so we can start doing a lot of alternative treatments, which is what I did. I did the handshake from traditional medicine to alternative therapies. Let them fight the battle. The battle is not something we want inside of us. Our beautiful selves have to find a place of peace. We have to find a place inside to raise our vibration. Like I said, more cells were happy and healthy than were compromised for me. So I sent, and I worked with a woman this morning who's from Ireland. She came to see me. And she's fearful that she's got some problem going on. I said, well, you got a lot more cells in your body that are happy. Let's recruit them. Let's recruit those cells and send them over there and love all over the cells that are not so happy. You know, I had another client who came to me, And she had a lot of I am stuff going on because she came to me in the beginning of her journey with breast cancer, and we worked through that. She was fine. All of a sudden, one day she comes to see me, and she's sitting in the lobby waiting for me to take her into my office. And I knew the minute I saw her, something was up. And when she sat down in my office, I said, "What's going on?" She said, "My cancer's back." I said, "Really? Tell me more." She said, "I went to the eye doctor to have an exam, and I have metastatic or malignant tumor in my eye." No, that's no fun, is it? So I said, "Okay, let's talk about it." So we did a session, and then after the session, I talked to her. I said, "Can I just offer something?" Because we've been working together for a long time. And I said, "Let me offer something for you. You're claiming this as my cancer." That gives cancer a lot of power. It actually invites it into your whole being. You are not that. And she had a lot of I am this and I am that and I am going to probably lose my eye. And I said, you are healed, whole, and healthy. Your eye has a challenge called cancer. That woman, it was like a shade was lifted. Now she trusts me. She knows me. She gets that. I walked with her through this journey, and she's doing wonderful. And she just blew right through that whole thing. 8 sessions radiation. She's doing the walk for breast cancer. She's in great shape. The 2 most important words in the English language are I am. And what follows that will get you. It's going to find you. When you say I am sad, you're going to end up being depressed. I am broke, you're probably going to not have much money. I am fat, well, you know what? Calories will march, and they will find you, and they will glom onto your butt, and they will glom onto your belly, and they will glom onto your thighs. So be careful what we say. Turn your words into truth, and then turn that truth into love. You see, because you know what? The truth of all of us is that we are healed, whole, and healthy. This is how I did what I did. Now, you might think I'm nuts. That's okay. Because I'm 10 years later, standing here in front of you, healed, whole, and healthy, and happy, after being told I had 3 months to live. And in a few minutes, I'm going to pick up my guitar and I'm going to sing for you. After being told if I did live, I probably wouldn't be able to sing. Well, you know what? That's not true, is it? So we have to decide for ourselves. And the only way to heal is to have deep faith. And the only way to heal and to find that place within ourselves is to really know that peace. Is it easy? No. Do we have to watch what we think? Yes. Do we have to pay attention to all those negative kind of things that want to kind of get on us? And what if it comes back? And what about this? No. We have to be mindful of what our thoughts are doing to us. It isn't an overnight thing to love yourself. It isn't something we're brought up doing. But I will tell you, self-love is the all-time greatest healer. And it takes patience. It's not easy to do, but it takes self-love. It takes a lot of practice. It takes patience. It takes gentleness. It takes kindness. It certainly doesn't take all your energy fighting this battle. We have to use our energy to have deep faith. You know, I did have faith. I had faith that I would eat again because I was fed through a tube for 9 months. I had faith that I would drink water again. I had to go back to school. My best friend of 37 years, who's really the hero in my book, Marcia, sat in a room with me while the speech pathologist blocked the door for me to learn how to drink 2 sips of water. It took me months to drink water again. But I had faith that I would drink water again, I would eat again, I would swim again, I would golf again, I would ride my bike in the Pan Mass Challenge again. And the way I did it was every day when I was sitting in that recliner, not being able to even walk to the corner or even downstairs by myself. In my imagination, Einstein said our imagination is way more important than knowledge. In my imagination, I imagine myself doing all of those things and more. So if there's things you haven't been able to do or you want to do and you're not doing, use your imagination. You know, not one of us here, cancer or no cancer, has any idea about tomorrow. You know, it's not cliche. Tomorrow is not promised, is it? We hear it every day. All of a sudden, somebody was picked off the planet. Had no idea it was going to happen. People think someone's coming home after work. Not all the time. So tomorrow is not promised. The cancer diagnosis really makes this even more real, doesn't it? Our job is to take these precious moments in our lives and be happy. Happy in every moment. That's why using our energy to fight is not a good way to use it, for me anyway. If it works for you, it works. But I think there's a lot better way, and I'm on a mission to bring this message to a lot of people around the world. You know, a life well lived deserves a good death, and that's not always what happens. Because what can happen, studies have proven that people on their deathbed, they don't talk about all the things they accomplished. They talk about wishes unfulfilled. They talk about all the things they wish they had done. They talk about they wish they hadn't worked so much. They wish they had spent more time with the people they love. They wish they had spent more time doing things that make them happy. They wish they had spent more time being in the moment. So folks, let's not wait to talk about these things and have our wishes unfulfilled. Let's go out there, and whether we have one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, several years, let's go out there and live these moments celebrating, being happy. You know, happy people heal faster when they get sick, and a lot of times happy people don't even get sick. You know, if you've ever listened to or read anything about from Dr. Bernie Siegel, he's a dear friend of mine. He's a wonderful man. He's been on some shows I've done and classes I've taught. That's what he talks about. Look at how many people he's helped with cancer. He's an amazing man. So let's live our moments celebrating these precious and amazing moments of our lives. Let's go out and let's live in full expression and not just survive, let's thrive. Thank you, and God bless you. I am very blessed that my family helped me through this, and my friends, and I have a huge circle of people. I'm one of the co-founding members, the original people who started Unity on the River in Amesbury. And that whole community really held my hand in the high watch. And also, I mentioned I'm Italian. Italians tend to have lots of kids and people. And I'm one of 5 children, but for some reason, they just had a lot of kids. And those children had a lot of children. So my immediate family is 72 people. And at first, you know, I thought, well, you know, I'm 50 years old. I can just slip away. I'm not going through this. They're talking, it's hellish. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to fade away. And my sister said, I will kill you if you die. There's no dying. And so, yeah, we pulled together. And, you know, they wove an amazing fabric, which held us all. Didn't just hold me, it held all of us. Because, you know, my book is dedicated to caregivers for a reason. Because without caregivers, we wouldn't really be anywhere, would we? It's very important for us to be there and help each other. So, yes, my family was quite instrumental, and my extended family. I trusted and I had faith, and I also got very real. And I do believe, you know, I'm not going to stand there and tell you I took a spiritual bypass and said, oh, I have cancer, isn't this great? I think I'll fall in love with it and I won't fight. That was pretty quick. But I think what we have to do is we have to know that we are, you know, spiritual beings having a personal experience of a body. And in this density of our bodies, I do believe that it's really important to feel the fear, feel the sadness, feel the anger. I wasn't happy. I was busy. What's your name?
Stephanie.
Stephanie. I was busy. Love your glasses, by the way. I was busy. I'm like, really, God? You're kidding me. I really don't have time. So I bought a wiffle ball bat. And when I got angry, I used it as my anger management tool. And when I was uncertain about what was going to happen and I felt all the emotions, I really let myself feel. And I think when we really emote and we let ourselves express, that's what when I talk about living in full expression, that's what I'm talking about. We have to live our lives and we have to express all of it. And most of the time we're living in fear. And that whole battle mentality, that's a fear-based mentality. Your adrenals are taxed. You're in this fight or flight mode. Love and fear cannot coexist. I choose love. So when I was uncertain, I knew one thing. I knew my faith was strong, and I know my God, and I trusted that I could surrender, which doesn't mean to give up, it means open up. I think we get afraid, and we're afraid to be vulnerable. As human beings, we're afraid. Something happens at 5 or 6 years old, and it starts putting all this stuff on. People ask me, how did you do what you did? You know my answer? I didn't do anything. I undid a lot. I undid a lot. So when the uncertainty came, I went with it. But I went with it not just with hope, but when I say you got to be fierce in your faith for that which you want instead of being fierce in the fight for that which you don't want, I mean it. And the other thing that I am quoted, that I heard one day when I was at Mass Eye and Air, waiting to learn about a 4.5-hour operation that was going to remove the left side of my neck, I was petrified. I begged my doctor, please no. And I heard this voice say, fear will bow its head to faith. Just be strong in your faith. Fear will bow its head to faith. And I believed that voice. You got it. Our job is to do what? Our job is to be happy. That's our job. I don't care what's going on. Some of my happiest moments, and this is bizarre, were in the midst of all of the nothingness in my life. I mean, I was stripped of everything. Thank you for sharing. I was stripped of everything. When you can't eat, talk, drink, sing, get up and do what you want to do, you're sitting there. I sat. And you know, you want to really know the oneness? Sit for a while. That's why I sit every day in meditation. I do yoga every day. I walk 4 or 5 miles a day. I'm blessed to have the time. I make the time, actually. But you know, our job is to be happy. So you know this song, so sing with me. So I wrote this song many years ago. It's called Walk With Me. And when I wrote it, I had no idea that it would be my theme song for my journey.